Hey guys. First of all, my name is Wallace. Really nice to meet you all. Also, I just want to make a few comments on Peter's pretzel. I think he made a really good point about not to copy San Francisco, Silicon Valley just in general. I think Cluj is a great place. I've seen so many passionate young folks and so many great teams. I think it's gonna be amazing, you know. So I think that's one that really hits my heart about Peter's presentation. And also, I think the other thing is it's really hard to set up a presentation, and you know, so I choose to use PDF. Just so bear with really plain presentation without any animation or video. So anyway. So I come from Misfit. So Misfit is a Silicon Valley startup who got acquired recently by another watch company called Fossil Group. So I'm kind of carrying the name of Misfit at this point, but maybe in the future you will hear more about Fossil Group. I work in the software products and the IoT products for the team. I joined the company in the beginning. And I experienced the growth of a company. So what I'm going to do is to tell you a little bit about the company in the past 3 or 4 years, and then I'm going to share with you guys about what we learned so far in this wearable space. So here we go. And Misfit is founded by 3 founders, Sunny, John, and Sridhar. So John is the former CEO of Pepsi and Apple. So he is also a great mentor for our company as well. And we started in San Francisco, and we distributed the company out. So now we have offices across the Pacific Oceans, and similar with Pretzel. So Misfit San Francisco is more of a sales and marketing, but we do a little bit hardware engineering because we have great hardware engineers over there. And so we make a few products, Misfit Shine, so it's a design-oriented product. And so this is, you know, a lot of our female users loved it. And we make a lot of accessories around it to help people to wear them more easily. And so also make them to be able to show off that they are actually wearing a gadget rather than a fitness tracker. So. And also we make flashes, which is the kind of like a lower cost version to scale the market. And we also tapped into a little bit on the IoT section. So Misfit Bolt is a smart light bulb, which seems kind of completely irrelevant to what we're doing from the beginning, but we just think it's actually pretty cool to make a light bulb, you know. So and then we just did it. It's a light bulb that you can control through your phone directly, and it's also a colorful light bulb. And Shine 2 is a successor of Shine. So we added a few features, but we still keep the battery for about 6 months, and waterproofness. And this is our latest product called Misfit Ray. After the acquisition from Fossil, so we decided to make a round activity tracker into a tube activity tracker, but all the features stay the same. So, because we just think people, probably in the world, there's another group of people they like to wear tubical objects rather than round objects. So, we also tried some other very random products called Misfit Spectre, which is a smart earphone. And so it's an earphone that tracks your activity, so where you can use it when you work out. Okay, so we do a little bit software. So my team works on all the software products. So they're a brilliant team, and they worked on so we have iOS, Android, even Windows Phone. So you know, probably like we've seen like 2% of our users using Windows Phone, which makes us very excited as well. Not only by making products, we also work with a lot of partners. So lifestyle partners, fashion partners, and then jewelry partners, and also live sports partner. So one thing to mention about these partners is that we don't just do the marketing with them, but we also do develop specific feature with them. This is how we think we can add value to our partner, because partner work with you because they trust you, right? So how do you leverage this relationship and add more value to that? So the way that we do is to add create specific features that we think will benefit our partners, users. For example, for Speedo, we work with them to develop swim algorithms. So it's a little bit techy, but you don't have to. So basically, if you wear Speedo Shine, so then you don't have to. It tracks your swim activity automatically without having to go, using a phone and inputting the numbers or whatnot. Okay, so Fossil, a little bit introduction of Fossil Group. So Fossil is a worldwide fashion and watchmaking company. So it has a lot of portfolio brands. Some of them you guys might heard, Michael Kors, Armani, and so yeah. So now Misfit is part of them. Okay, so besides introducing to you guys what we do, I want to share with you guys on how we think about wearables. So, and also why we think wearable is exciting. So if you guys look at the history of the technologies, we have been going through several main stages. And now we're in the IoT world, which everybody recognizes. So back in 2011, when I decided to join Misfit, so Sunny, the CEO, told me that we're going to make wearable products. And I was like, what is wearable? And I've never heard that word even. So, so I thought it was like some T-shirt that you have chips on your body and tracks your heart rate and, do some like fancy Star Trek stuff. So, but that turned out to be not true in Misfit. So, but right now, wearables and IoT is a very commonly accepted word, and I think a lot of people are working on this, and I've seen great teams in Cluj and Romania. So it's pretty widely accepted. And for the use cases of wearables, so we divided them into two major sections. So now we're in the wearable 2.0 age, we think. So the main difference between wearable 1.0 and wearable 2.0 is wearable 2.0 is more personal, it's more connected to the users. So 1.0 is more functional oriented, so you could track your sleep, track your activity, get a lot of data. But 2.0 is more of it follows you more closely and helps you more directly in your life. For example, if you are in an emergency case, rather than calling your emergency contact in the traditional world, then you could do you have a wearable that you could push a button or so that there will be somebody coming to rescue you. And also the other example, which is what we have seen so far, is you can, rather than using your wallet or using your phone to do payment, then you have your Apple Watch or payment band to pay for your bills and when you're at the shops. So what is wearables core features and attribute? So we think wearables consist of three major attributes, which is fashion and comfortness and also power. So fashion makes yourself looking good, which is what we focus on right now, and comfortness makes you kind of like not to reject it when you wear it, which is the user experience part of it. And then there's a power part, which is very specific to wearable at this point, because I guess most of people, when you have your activity tracker, when it works for only 1 or 2 days, what would you think about it? Right, so we focus on power as well. And this is how we think we make a great wearable product. Utility as a feature, for example, like activity tracking, step tracking, it's a minor part that in our mind. So our first problem to solve is to make people to be willing to wear it first. So it sounds simple, but it actually is a very hard problem for us to think about. We spent a couple years on that, and we come up with our own solution. First of all, during the solution, we came up with this small tricky test. So think about when you are driving to your work in the morning, and on the halfway to the work, you lost some object at your home. What would make you to turn around and get it? Your wallet, probably you will need that because otherwise you can't get your lunch. And your keychain, I think that's something that you will have to come back for it. But what about your activity tracker? What about your Fitbit, your Jawbone, your Apple Watch? Let's call it that way. Would you come back? Probably no. So, but why you don't want to come back for it? Because I guess the most common answer that I got so far was, it's just not that useful, it's not that important to me. So this is the critical question for wearable at this point. And I think a lot of companies in the world, they're trying to solve this problem by coming up with all of this, all of the different features, all of the different design. So this is our hack. So our hack is to make our product to be everywhere, which is not a very important at the current aspect of life, but it's just everywhere whenever you need it. So so for our product, this is our theory to build the product. When we see a good product, it means a lot of people are wearing it for a very, very long time. And so that we generate a lot of data. So we continue to use the data to back into our science team to develop better algorithms. So to give you a concrete example, so in the beginning, our product is unable to track sleep automatically. We cannot track steps accurately. So we store all the data. We collect all the data from our user anonymously and store them onto our cloud and send them back to our science team. And our science team, do all of this modeling and then work with the engineering team to iterate quickly on a better algorithms and to improve the product. So, for example, in Misfit, we have a tradition to release our firmware update every 3 to 4 weeks, which is kind of close to our mobile app update release cycle, because we try to keep it up to. We know our product is not perfect, but we can't wait to make a perfect product without learning from users. So we decided to just go to the market and learn from the user and move nimbly. And so people would love to wear a product with all of these aspects and with a good looking product, comfortness, and make them standing out, fit their own fashion language, and which is what we have been working on so far. So what's happening next? And so after the Fossil acquisition, I personally, because my background is software engineer, I have zero knowledge about fashion. I don't know anything about it. And then the first thing that I ever learned when I stepped into Fossil office was their photography studio is 3 times larger than our main office. So that means something. And they have all kinds of different photography equipment that I've never seen or heard so far. They're all taking photos all day long, just taking photos of all the watches. So this is what I have seen, and people are explaining to me. They need this equipment, they need this content to satisfy their users and to tell the customers what they're making. And that's just enormous. That's just enormous and also mind-blowing because it's such a simple watch, right? And it only tells your time. Why do you need to spend so much time on it? Because back in the Misfit, what we did, we spent a lot of time curating our design, but we never reached to that scale. So, and after a few months, what we learned so far is at Fossil, as represented as one of the fashion and watchmaking company, is we realized there's a trend. The trend is tech companies going to the fashion world, while fashion world is coming back, reverting back to the tech world as well. So I think in the future we will see a lot more products and companies that are going for this kind of hybrid and tech and fashion combination. For example, Apple, after they launched the Apple Watch, the first gen, I think after a while, they hired another watchmaker company to start in design to their second generation of Apple Watch. You know, so, because we all know how Apple Watch works like, and but it's designed by a bunch of hardware engineer and a software engineer. It's not designed by watchmakers. So, you know, comparing to 20 years of wearable, 10 years of wearable making experience versus hundreds of years watchmaking experiences, there's a big, big learning curve over there. So there's still a long, long way to go for wearable products. Sorry. And so this is some example where Apple Watch is not a really good example, but if you guys look at the picture in the middle, it's called Heuer. It's a Swiss watch brand. It's a luxury brand. So they make an Android Wear, and they sell it for $1,500. Can you believe that? Because you can also find another Android Wear product with exactly the same feature and the slower CPU, worse screen for probably $300. But why they are selling $1,500 for the same product? You know, so there's I think if you ask their buyers, probably the answer is because it's Heuer. Because we are, you know, we know they make good stuff and it's a good brand. And we think all of this fashion tech embracement is just the beginning, as I mentioned before. And there's still a lot of opportunities for us to explore, where there's also a big challenge. So in the traditional fashion world, so what fashion companies are looking like, because their user attributes are so different, they're looking at the customization, self-expression, and the personalization. So which results in their product to be high SKU, which means that you make a lot of different kinds, but low single SKU volume, which means for one kind, you don't make that much, because if you have a lot of people wearing the same watch, you wouldn't want to wear it because you don't want to become the same one of them. And with the tech, then there is a digital service layer on this. So we are talking about software running on the fashion watches, and we're talking about digital experience customization on the watch. So how can we solve this enormous problem? Because it means we have to make a lot of different. Let's talk about UI. It means we have to make a lot of different skin on your watch for different brands, for different user demographics, and at different time. So there is a scale. There's a exponential scale of growth. How can you solve this problem? By having your team working day and night to make a lot of different designs. That's obviously not doable. Right. So and also you need to make the product in the speed of consumer electronics, because consumer electronics are updated every 6 months or 1 year. So fashion world, a single watch design can last for years and years, right? So it's a timeless piece. And so with all of this hardware, software, and even services implications, how can we solve this complicated problem? So one of our solutions that we think and we are pounding onto is to rely on modularity and rely on ecosystem, which sounds simple, and I will explain a little bit about the modularity here. So modularity, if you guys know about watch, so all the watches that you see in the store, that will be, so you will see a lot of, but they're actually made from just a few movements. So the watchmaker will choose the movement first, which is tens of them, and then create all design around it, which becomes to thousands of them. So modularity in the wearable, fashion wearable world is the key. And we think that will happen in the digital watch space as well. And then we rely on the ecosystem to ask our developers, ask our partners, ask the team who is excited about what they're making to help us to create, to expand this system and help us to create the applications and the design for the users. So one last piece of advice would be, I think as a startup, I think startup has the advantage of being nimble and move fast. But sometimes startup are focusing on more on the technical, especially tech startup, they're focusing on technical challenges. But what we learned so far would be apply the technical challenge onto your user first. See if they take it or not. And also focus on end-to-end experiences. So go to your user, do a user survey, and talk to them, understand their problem. If there is a technical challenge, come embrace it. But if there's an easier way to solve it, then apply the easier approach first. I think that would be all. So thanks for your time, and yeah, we're glad to discuss more.